So I kind of want to start my little story about, basically I've been away from Bristol for a couple of years. Can you come a bit closer first? Everyone come in if you can come in, please. I've got some interesting stories. So I've been away from Bristol. I've been away from Bristol for a couple of years. I lived here for 10 years, and then I decided to go back to Bournemouth to spend some time with my family and my mum. I've come back for this to support Chandos, and when you're away from a place, and then you come back to a place, you see it with like different eyes, and you see it with fresh eyes, you know? And one of the first things that happened, I was walking into town to go and buy a pencil, and as I walked down to the bear pit, there's a guy on the side of the road next to the bear pit, and basically he had collapsed. He'd smoked some spice and been drinking all day, and a copper was giving him emergency CPR. Now this sounds a bit graphic, but I think I want to explain like what I saw with these fresh eyes was this very skinny shell of a man with his ribs like taking his, maybe, I don't know, maybe he died in the back of that ambulance, I don't know, but his last breaths. But then I started to, as I walked past him, I looked at him and I thought, do you know what, there's a whole story behind this shell, behind this man, and he's got family, he had dreams, he had aspirations, and now he's being carted off into the back of an ambulance. So that was my kind of experience back into Bristol again. Then I walked into the bear pit and I felt really angry. You know, I said to myself, how is this happening? How has this got so bad, especially in the last 10 years? And I felt completely powerless. And then it was a bit of a synchronicity. Basically, I'd met someone up the road and we started to chat about things, and I'll openly admit I just ended up ranting at her and saying, like, I'm sick of this, that it's absolutely outrageous, how can this actually happen, you know? And then I started to feel like, do you know what, like, I know why I've come back to Bristol, because I've come to support Chandos House, so I want to turn that anger into something positive, you know, and actually try and do something. But then I started to think, well, what can I do? What can I do as one person? And actually, ultimately, it all comes down to community, you know, like, and that's what Chandos House represents for me. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about austerity and the myths of austerity that we're being told through the media, and you know, it's just cuts and we have to do it, blah blah blah. I don't know if anyone knows about the arena and the arena project down at the Temple Meads. It's called Arena Island. Now yesterday, last night, it was announced that basically they're not going to do the arena down at the site anymore. Now, people may know that they built a bridge down there as well. The bridge cost £11 million to build, and it's there. We call it the bridge to nowhere because it leads to just waste ground now. Now, if the council have got £11 million to spend on a bridge to nowhere, why isn't there any money for services, frontline services like Chandos? Now, as I stood in the bear pit that day and yesterday and thought to myself, what can I do about it? As I was doing a Facebook Live video, as I do often about with my rants, I turned round and the public toilets are shut as well. From the 7th of January, the public toilets are now shut. So public toilets are being shut as well. So we're told this, and then the libraries and everything else. So why is it that there's money for the bridge to nowhere, but not for frontline public services? What am I going to say now? I don't know. I'm just freewheeling it really. Anyway, so I spoke to James, and as soon as I turned up here, he said to me, "You're going to do the abseil?" And I thought, so what have I done again? I've got myself into another situation. But I tell you what I do want to tell you is how I met Chandos House. For me, it was I've had a very strange life. I end up getting myself into situations, and then I end up thinking, how does this always happen to me? But basically, I sold some art prints to a friend called Victoria, who I studied with at UE University, and it was for our English school in King's Square. Anyway, I sold her the prints, and she put them on the wall and everything, and then James Dickinson, or James Chandos as I like to call him, he put a call out on Facebook asking for someone to do some graphic design. So I thought, anyway, so Victoria mentioned him, I know this guy, he does graphic design and art and stuff like that. So James got in contact and he rang me up and he said, "You all right there, fella? You can do some graphic design?" I said, "Yeah." So we started talking about practical things, you know, and and basically said, you know, I said, oh, what colours and what size and what this and that. He said, no, don't worry about any of that. He didn't want to talk about the design. He said, come to Chandos, I want you to get a feel for the place. So off I went on the Tuesday or whatever it was, and I walked down the path, like many of the Chandos brothers had also. Anyway, I went there. Within half an hour, I had signed in on the little book on the front door, and then I was in a men's group. And I thought to myself, how do I get myself into these situations? And then suddenly I was being open with